The guilty plea of former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, who on Friday admitted to making false statements to the FBI about his contacts with Russia, is very significant. First, in Flynn, not only has a member of U.S. President Donald Trump's campaign team been charged but also a former high-ranking official in the administration. Second, despite the White House downplaying the charges by saying that Flynn was only in the administration for a short time, he was one of the most important foreign policy advisors, if not the most important, to the future president during the election campaign. Trump's high esteem for Flynn led him to be appointed National Security Advisor, a position that doesn't require congressional approval, against the advice of many experts. Under the deal with Mueller, Flynn can expect only 6 to 12 months in prison, or a suspended sentence. Third, Flynn's guilty plea is a clear indication that he has provided important information to special counsel Robert Mueller, who will be able to use that information to prepare investigations and charges against more significant figures. That's the real story here. That he agreed to cooperate in exchange for favorable treatment from Mueller, said Jimmy Guruli, a former assistant attorney general at the Justice Department and a law professor at the University of Notre Dame. You don't enter into a plea agreement unless the prosecutor has determined and independently corroborated that a potential witness has substantial, credible and reliable evidence that would implicate higher-ups in the criminal enterprise in unlawful activity. Read more Why the Russia Probes Don't Cripple Trump's Foreign Policy. June 18, 2013. Donald Trump tweeted the Miss Universe pageant will be broadcast live from Moscow, Russia on November 9th. A big deal that will bring our countries together. He later added, "Do you think Putin will be going? If so, will he become my new best friend?" October 17, 2013. Trump tells chat show host David Letterman he has conducted a lot of business with the Russians. An FBI agent told a tech support contractor at the Democratic National Committee it may have been Ed. On May 18, 2016, James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, said there were some indications of cyber attacks aimed at the presidential campaigns. On June 14, 2016, the DNC announced it had been the victim of an attack by Russians. Senator Jeff Sessions, an early Trump endorser who led his National Security Advisory Committee, met Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak and a group of other ambassadors at a Republican National Convention event. Julian Assange's WikiLeaks published 20,000 emails stolen from the DNC, appearing to show a preference for Hillary Clinton over Senator Bernie Sanders. The FBI announced it was investigating the DNC, saying a compromise of this nature is something we take very seriously. Donald Trump is elected President of the United States. On November 9, the Russian parliament burst into applause at the news. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybakov said there were contacts between the Russian government and the Trump campaign during the election campaign. The Trump campaign issued a firm denial. Trump named General Michael Flynn as his national security advisor. The former Defense Intelligence Agency chief was a top foreign policy advisor in Trump's campaign. Flynn resigned in February after failing to disclose details of his communication with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Acting Attorney General Sally Yates told White House counsel Don McGahn that Flynn made false statements regarding his calls with Kislyak. On January 30, Trump fired Yates for refusing to enforce his travel ban, which was later blocked by federal courts. Trump said he had total confidence in Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Sessions announced he would recuse himself from any investigation into ties between Russia and the Trump campaign. FBI Director James Comey confirmed before the House Select Committee on Intelligence that the FBI was investigating possible links between Russia and the Trump campaign. In a letter announcing the termination, Trump wrote, "While I greatly appreciate you informing me, on 3 separate occasions, that I am not under investigation, I nevertheless concur with the judgment of the Department of Justice that you are not able to effectively lead the Bureau." Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appointed former FBI Director Robert Mueller to look into Russia's interference in the 2016 election and possible collusion with the Trump campaign. Shortly after Mueller convenes a grand jury for the investigation, the FBI seizes documents from one of Paul Manafort's properties as part of a raid for Mueller's probe. The former Trump campaigner manager stepped down in August 2016 after allegations surfaced that he had received large payments linked to Ukraine's former pro-Russian government. Donald Trump Jr. tells the Senate Judiciary Committee he has not colluded with a foreign government. The closed-door interview relates to his June 2016 meeting with Russian lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya, which was also attended by his brother-in-law, Jared Kushner, and then-campaign manager Paul Manafort. Trump Jr.'s emails, however, suggest the meeting was supposed to produce dirt on Clinton. Facebook, Twitter and Google reportedly tell U.S. media they have evidence that Russian operatives exploited platforms to spread disinformation during the 2016 U.S. presidential election. The three companies are expected to appear before a Senate Intelligence Committee in November. Author Joe Harper, Kathleen Schuster. According to Brandon Garrett, a law professor at the University of Virginia, Flynn has likely already given up valuable information to investigators. A plea deal would only have been offered once there was real cooperation, he said. Lisa Curran-Griffin, a criminal law scholar at Duke University, noted that Flynn appears to have gotten off lightly, although further charges are still possible. Making false statements to the FBI is a felony that carries a prison sentence of up to 5 years. But under the deal with Mueller, Flynn can expect only 6 to 12 months in prison, or possibly a suspended sentence, Griffin said. That's almost nothing, she added, compared to what the public record of Flynn's activities suggests, which could have led to multiple charges. In addition, no charges have been brought against Flynn's son, who according to media reports was in Mueller's sights over an alleged plot to kidnap U.S.-based preacher Fethullah Gulen, who is wanted by the Turkish government over last year's failed coup attempt. Read more. President Donald Trump after 6 months, expect more of the same. Who's next? Since Mueller's strategy is to work his way up to big fish through indictments and deals with small fish, the net around potential targets will now become smaller. After all, as former national security advisor, Flynn was already fairly high up in the White House hierarchy. For legal experts, there are only a few people in Mueller's sights, and high on this short list stands Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law and senior White House advisor. Read more. Kushner denies colluding with Russia after Senate Intelligence Committee meeting. There were a number of ways during the campaign that Michael Flynn and Jared Kushner were working together, and at a minimum I suspect that Michael Flynn has damaging information to offer about Jared Kushner, Griffin said. According to U.S. media reports, Kushner is the very senior member of the Trump transition team who directed Flynn to make contact with former Russian ambassador Sergei Kislyak in 2016. Trump's son could also be targeted by Mueller, noted Guru Lee. To me, the other potential target is Donald Trump Jr. There is reason to believe that he is being targeted based on this June 2016 meeting in the Trump Tower with a Russian lawyer and others, editors note, where he appears to be excited over the possibility of Russian dirt on Hillary Clinton, he said. Beginning of the end for Trump. Although many Trump critics, on social media and elsewhere, may be tempted to see Flynn's plea deal as the beginning of the end for the president, it's still premature to conclude whether or not Flynn may implicate others in Trump's inner circle. Read more. Think Donald Trump will be impeached soon? Think again. For legal experts, this is only a step, even if a significant step, in the long process of Mueller's investigation. Certainly, it's true that the charges have been getting ever closer to the president. But Trump has, so far, never directly been under investigation, and it remains constitutionally questionable whether a sitting president can even be charged. Griffin thinks it's unrealistic to assume Trump will soon be leaving office, at least at this point in time. She believes the question over Trump's future will likely not to be answered legally, but rather politically in next year's midterm elections.